It is Movember, the month that supports education, research, training, and funding about men's mental health. Today, we're exploring men, grief, and mental health. At the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a 4-point guide about how to begin to speak with men about their emotional wellness. I'm Jo McRogers, and I'm a grief therapist who has worked in mental health for decades. Please join our Grievolution community by subscribing to the channel and turning on the notifications bell so that you will know each time that we speak about a new aspect of grief. The goal of our community is to do grief differently. There are a lot of challenges for men to tend to their mental health through stereotypes, through systems that don't serve men very well, and for the need for more authentic and frequent dialogue. Let's first talk about men and emotions. And we can't do that without looking at stereotypes. So, man up. Big boys don't cry. You have to be strong for them. Don't let them see you cry. Don't let them see you be fearful. Emotions equal vulnerability in a man's world. So while we are making some progress in these cultural expectations of men, we still have a long way to go. Books are being published, Hollywood is starting to portray a much more emotionally available man, more male-informed services are being developed and offered, and men are beginning to see the value of no longer having to be the lone wolf. However, research shows that men not only experience these stereotypes, but that they're also limited by those beliefs individually. Men are more likely than women to hold the following beliefs. I would not vote for a male politician if I knew he had a history of depression. Men with depression are dangerous. And finally, men with depression could just snap out of it if they wanted to. Mental health polls that 50% of men are unable to demonstrate a solid understanding of depression symptoms. Physical health has been rated as twice as important to men as their mental health. So, knowing this now, you can begin to see how we still have a long way to go yet. If you have any comments or you find any of this surprising, please write a comment down below. If you are a man whose grief has been impacted by these false beliefs, then please share with us what would have been helpful for you so that we can learn together. All of this awareness is so important when it comes to men and grief. Grief equals vulnerability, which for men equals stigma, which often equals not asking for help. As a grief therapist, I can tell you that grief is only survived by being present with the emotions of grief. Grieving men will often find themselves taking the role of being the strong one. They become the protector, or sometimes they feel guilty because they were unable to protect somebody in their perception and a death occurred. Men are often silent or grieve privately, and this gives the illusion that they are doing okay. This is false. Men's grief experiences are often isolating, hiding, denying, repressing their emotions. Men will often try to outrun, outnumb, outbusy, or outwork their way over and around their grief. The result of this is that grieving, sad men are left feeling weak, they're left being isolated, and they're left feeling that they are not enough. Grief is not something that can be fixed, and we know that that is a main driver for so many men to fix things. Movember started back in 2003 with 30 Mobros in Australia, and it has now grown, thankfully, to provide funding and research, support, and education as a global campaign. Mental health is one of the areas that they have included. In the description of this video, I'm going to include a link that talks about the Movember efforts. They are so important. So, as promised, how to open up the conversation with men, between men, and for men. Movember promotes an acronym called ALEC, the ALEC Method. It stands for ALEC. A is ask, L is listen without distractions, put away your phone. E is encourage them to seek help, to talk, to take small steps that could help them to feel better. Encourage them to know that it can change. And C is for checking back in. Please think of this as a beginning of conversations, and please think of this as the beginning of openings. In the comments below, I will leave the link where the Movember guide as to how to use the ALEC method is available. So I've made some sweeping generalized statements today regarding men and emotions. But what I do know to be specifically accurate is that dealing with grief needs to be supported and safe. Grief can often be seen as mental illness, and mental illness can often overshadow grief. It gets very complicated and tricky. This becomes even more so tricky for men. And then again, even more so challenging for men of any kind of marginalized communities, whether it's because of skin color, whether they're an indigenous community, men who are living in poverty, men who have sexual orientation that communities are not yet accepting. It gets very complicated for men to grieve. So please leave a comment below if any of this has made sense. If you have value added that we can all learn from, please like this video with the thumbs up below so that YouTube will know to share it widely for anybody who is seeking information about men and grief and mental health. If you are someone who is a man and is struggling with some emotional wellness, or you are supporting a man who has some of these questions, then I send you kind thoughts, kind words, and a kind heart during the month of Movember. Thank you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.